The wind howled like a living thing, clawing at my jacket as I spliced wire along the northern fence line near Lake Owen. My fingers, numb from the cold, fumbled with the pliers, and my breath fogged in the thin, brittle air. Up here, 7,000 feet above sea level, the Wyoming wilderness felt like it could swallow you whole. I just hammered a post into the frozen ground when my belt radio crackled, slicing through the lonely whine of the wind. "Callaway, you copy?" Natalie's voice was calm but clipped, the kind of tone that carried an unspoken order. I thumbed the receiver. "Copy. You're the closest unit to Section 32, she said. Unregistered fire ring reported in a ravine northwest of Dead Horse Ridge. Hikers called it in yesterday. Probably kids poaching elk tags, but dispatch tried hailing the permit holders, 3 hunters from Cheyenne. No response. I want eyes on it before nightfall. Section 32. The name twisted something in my gut. It wasn't on any map, not officially. Just a jagged scar of backcountry, all steep ravines and old growth pines that seemed to lean in when you weren't looking. The locals had another name for it, Wendigo Gulch. A stupid myth, I told myself, something old-timers at the Centennial Feed store muttered about over coffee. But 7 years as a ranger had taught me to trust that knot in my chest, even if I didn't believe the stories, that I didn't ask why they'd send one guy into that ravine. I was the solo guy, the Widowmaker slot. Just me, a badge, and a sidearm I rarely touched. The calls I got were always check it out and report back, never send backup. Suited me fine most days. But this one felt different. I pulled off the gravel road, loaded my pack, trauma kit, Garmin, sidearm, flare gun, emergency sat phone. The sat phone was useless out here. The signal in Wendigo Gulch was as reliable as a wet match. It was a 3-mile hike over crusted snow and black rock, the kind of terrain that fought you every step. The trees grew bigger here, older, their trunks blackened with age, moss so thick it swallowed the sound of my boots. By the time I reached the gulch, the temperature had plummeted like a curtain dropping over the world. The campsite sat 10 yards from a frozen creek bed. No tents, just 3 cots under a sagging tarp, 1 camp chair overturned. A pot of coffee sat on a coal burner, still warm. A metal plate held half-eaten elk steak, the meat not even cold. The silence was wrong. No birds, no drip of melting snow, just a heavy, unnatural hush. Then I saw the rifles. 3 of them, leaned against a boulder by the fire ring. Stocks dry, safeties off, no shell casings. A box of unopened ammo sat on a log nearby. No hunter leaves guns like that, not unless they left in a hurry. I crouched, scanning the tracks. At first, it looked like a mess of boot prints scuffed into the snow. But then I saw them, bare footprints wide and deep, toes digging into the frozen ground like they'd been running. They trailed off toward a ridge that dropped into the deeper gulch. My stomach tightened. I thumbed my radio. "Dispatch, this is Ranger Callaway. Found the camp. No sign of the hunters. Gear's all here, but something's off. Please advise. Static. No escape, no ping." I tried again. Nothing. The sun was fading behind the ridge, casting a gray pall over the gulch. I had maybe an hour before dark. I decided to stay, mark the location, and hike out in the morning for a better signal. I pitched my tent 30 yards from the camp, close enough to monitor, far enough to feel like I had some distance. I set up a perimeter with clacker, wire, and soda cans, redneck motion sensors, but they'd saved my hide before. I didn't light a fire. The hunters' empty boots sat by their cold campfire, like ghosts waiting for answers. Around midnight, it started. At first, I thought it was the wind, a low, rolling sound through the trees. But it had a rhythm. Inhale, hold, exhale. Too wet, too close. I froze in my sleeping bag, flare gun in hand. The sound shifted, circling to the left of my tent, maybe 20 feet out. Heavy steps, careful, like something big knew how to move quiet. Pine needles crackled faintly. Then it stopped right by my tent door. I felt it, a pressure, like the air itself was holding its breath. No smell, no heat, just presence. Then the scream came. Not close, not yet, but echoing from deeper in the gulch. It wasn't human. Not a man yelling, not someone in pain. It was deliberate, drawn out like something mimicking a scream it didn't fully understand. My chest went cold. Another scream followed, closer, then silence. I don't know when I fell asleep, just that I stopped shaking long enough to close my eyes. Dawn broke, gray and lifeless. Outside my tent, I found gouges in the pine bark, 3 claw marks deep 12 feet up. In the snow, fresh barefoot prints circle my tent, 5 toes, wide ball, deep heel. Human, but not mine. I followed them against every instinct, not because I wanted to, but because something in my bones said I had to. They looped jaggedly for half a mile, doubling back, then broke into a straight line toward the deeper gulch. Then they stopped, not faded, just stopped like whatever made them had lifted off the ground. That's when I smelled it. Rot, deep and earthy like something long dead. It came in waves, almost pulsing. I scanned the tree line. Nothing moved. The forest was frozen in that unnatural hush. Then I saw it. An elk rib cage hoisted 20 feet into a tree, split open, ribs bent like wings. Steam curled from the red meat, fresh despite the cold. I stood there, breath fogging, trying to piece it together. The hunters were here 2 days ago. I'd slept in their camp. Now, this had a branch cracked behind me. I turned slow, hand on the flare gun. At first, I thought it was a bear, big, hunched, half hidden behind spruce. Then it stepped out. It was a man, or had been. Naked, feet blood black from frostbite, chest heaving in quick bursts. His mouth hung open, a strip of dark, stringy flesh clenched between his teeth, still dripping. His shoulders jerked, twitchy, like something inside was pulling the strings. He didn't look at me at first, just dragged his feet through the snow, slow and wrong. Then his head turned, and his eyes locked on mine. Gray, no whites, no pupils like river stones. "Brian," he said in my voice. Perfect cadence, perfect rasp. "Help me." The lips split into a smile, revealing too many teeth, blood crusted along the gums. "You left me here," it whispered like it was asking a favor. Then it moved fast, arms swinging, joints bending wrong that I ran, crashing through snow, breath burning. Behind me, a laugh, not loud, just amused like it knew I wouldn't get far. My foot caught a root, and my ankle snapped like a firecracker. Pain exploded, hot and blinding. I rolled to my back, gasping, dragging myself up the slope. My pack caught on a branch, and I screamed, not from pain, but because I heard it again. My voice, right behind me. "Brian." That night, I built a fire out of desperation, shaking too hard to aim the flare gun. My ankle swelled, every movement a bolt of lightning. The wood stayed quiet for a while. Then they came, 3 figures moving jerky like marionettes with loose strings. They stayed outside the firelight, whispering, sometimes in the hunters' voices, sometimes in mine, sometimes in Sophie's. My ex-wife, dead 5 years from crash. "Brian, come home," she whispered, gentle, broken. I bit my fist until it bled. Time folded out there. My watch froze on the second night. I rationed nothing, vomited bile, tasted blood, and wondered if it was mine. I saw my mother in the snow, humming a lullaby, pointing behind me. "Not much time left, Bree." The smell of rot sank into my jacket, my beard. By the time the rescue crew found me, I was too weak to cry. I heard them first, 2 men calling my name. I didn't trust it, hid behind a log, flare gun ready. Not until I saw the badge did I believe they were real. One looked scared, not cautious when he saw me. They airlifted me to Laramie General. I woke 3 days later from my arm, lips crusted with blood, 2 toes black. They questioned me, sheriff, fish and wildlife, a gray-suited man with no name. I tried to explain. It mimicked their voices, made them eat. They called it isolation psychosis, PTSD, hallucinations from starvation, but they couldn't explain the claw marks or the fingerprints around my tent, mine overlapping others in impossible patterns, or how I survived 4 nights with no food, no water, and injuries that should have killed me, or the bodies they found. 3 corpses, one impaled 25 feet up a pine, still bleeding. The others arranged around the fire pit, arms folded, faces peeled back, eyes gone, bones gnawed. They found the elk rib cage, burned it on sight. Then the cave, shallow, lined with claw marks, bones scattered inside. Deer, elk, Canine, human. On the wall, in blood and soot. Hunger doesn't die. They sealed the area, no patrols past Dead Horse Ridge without a team. I took early retirement, moved to a Montana cabin, and haven't set foot in a forest since. I tried once near Glacier, but heard something move, too slow, too measured. I keep the flare gun by my bed, loaded clean monthly. Sometimes when the snow falls and the wind howls just right, I hear it, breaths, broken screams, Sophie's voice soft and mournful. Brian. I don't answer. I won't, because I know that's how it starts. But the worst part isn't the voices or the claw marks or even the bodies. It's the question I can't shake. Out there, in the cold, with my ankle broken and those things circling, I tasted blood on my tongue. I told myself it was mine from biting my fist. But sometimes, in the quiet of my cabin, I wonder, did I eat something I don't remember? Did I leave them out there? Or did I bring something back with me? Every night, I check the flare gun and I listen. Because hunger doesn't.